It was on a Monday morning when I had a knock on my door. I opened it, and there stood Karen, looking like she had been marinating in a vat of drama overnight. I hadn't even said a word when she spat. "I knew you were many things, but a family of thieves? That's news to me." My jaw dropped. Was this woman serious, or was I about to be featured on some hidden camera show? "Where is my golden necklace?" she barked. "I knew it was a mistake inviting your family to my party last Saturday." My brain froze as I tried to recall what party she was talking about. Ah, yes. The previous week, I, along with my 7-year-old daughter Sophia, had reluctantly gone to her birthday party. I didn't even want to be there. The entire event had HOA gossip written all over it. Welcome to Prodigy Tales. Make sure you like and subscribe for your top-notch HOA drama. I was still processing the insanity unfolding on my porch. Karen kept going like a deranged auctioneer. "That golden necklace has been passed down 4 generations, and I'm not letting you lowlives strip me of such a gift." That's when my patience cracked. I could tolerate her HOA threats, her passive-aggressive flyers about lawn height, and even her unsolicited home improvement tips. But accusing my little girl of theft? That was crossing a line. I raised an eyebrow and said, "Are you seriously accusing my kid of stealing your jewelry?" She leaned closer, her perfume assaulting my nostrils like toxic gas, and hissed, "If I don't get my necklace back in 4 hours, I'll be calling the cops." I laughed out loud because the situation was so absurd. "Karen, I don't have your necklace. Maybe check under your pile of HOA violation slips?" She didn't find that amusing. Her eyes narrowed, and without another word, she stomped off my porch, her heels clicking like the sound of impending doom. I stood there, dumbfounded, trying to figure out if I had just been threatened with jail time over a piece of jewelry I hadn't even touched. My heart sank when I realized some of my neighbors had overheard everything. Great. Just great. Sophia had woken up from her sleep, rubbing her little eyes and asking, "Dad, why was Karen shouting like that?" My jaw tightened as I patted her head. "Don't worry, kiddo. Some people wake up every day just looking for someone to blame for their miserable life," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. Inside, though, I was boiling. Why me? Why my daughter? Karen's party had been a circus with half the neighborhood in attendance, so what kind of twisted logic made her zero in on us? I paced around the living room like a soldier ready for battle. My mind replayed Saturday night like a crime tape. Karen's birthday party was exactly what I expected. Loud music, cheap champagne, and every HOA gossip queen in the area buzzing about property values and fence colors. Sophia had spent the evening playing with Karen's spoiled, overweight cat while I stood near the snack table, dodging boring conversations about who had the greenest lawn. Nothing about that night screamed thief, but apparently Karen's brain had gone rogue. I grabbed my phone and called my lawyer, Dan. "You're not going to believe this," I started. "Karen just accused my 7-year-old daughter of stealing her family heirloom, a golden necklace." Dan laughed like it was the punchline to a bad joke. "Oh boy, Karen again? Relax, we've crushed her in HOA disputes before. We'll do it again. Don't let her rattle you," he said. Easier said than done. My blood was on a slow boil. When I stepped outside to get some air, I noticed my nosy neighbors, Tom and Linda, pretending to check their mailbox while whispering like high schoolers. Perfect. Karen's little performance on my porch had already spread like wildfire. I shot them a fake smile and yelled, "If you're curious, my daughter didn't steal a thing. Some people just love drama." They gave me that awkward laugh that said they'd already chosen a side. I clenched my fists and muttered under my breath. Karen had crossed the line this time. Accusing me was one thing. Accusing my kid? She was about to find out what happens when you push a man too far. I decided to confront Karen directly. No games, no nonsense. I marched over to her house, knocked so hard on her door that her decorative wreath nearly fell off. She opened the door with that smug grin, the kind that made me want to laugh and punch something at the same time. "Here to return my necklace?" she sneered. I kept my cool, barely. "Karen, listen to me carefully. I don't have your necklace. And if you think my 7-year-old daughter would steal your crusty family heirloom, you've officially lost your mind." She folded her arms and said, "If it's not you, then it must be Sophia. I saw the way she was looking at it during the party." My blood pressure shot up. She's 7. She looks at everything like it's a treasure. It's called being a kid. Karen wasn't listening. Her eyes narrowed like she'd solved the greatest mystery of the century. I realized talking to her was like arguing with a brick wall, only less productive. I turned and stormed off before I said something that would get me arrested. A few hours later, I heard the unmistakable sound of a police cruiser rolling into my driveway. Yep, Karen had actually gone through with her threat. Two officers stepped out, one of them holding a notepad. "Sir, we need to ask you and your daughter some questions about a missing item," one of them said, glancing at Sophia, who was now clutching my leg with wide, scared eyes. My blood boiled, but I stayed calm. "Sure," I said, "we have nothing to hide. Let's go clear this up." As we were heading to the car, Karen's daughter, Ellie, came running down the street, waving something shiny in her hand. "We found it, Mom," she shouted. Everyone froze. Turns out the necklace had fallen behind a shelf in Karen's own house. I couldn't help but laugh, loudly. The officers looked annoyed, while Karen's face turned the color of expired shrimp. "Oh, my mistake," she mumbled. "Your mistake?" I said. "Lady, you just accused a 7-year-old of being a criminal." The cops wrote her a citation for filing a false report, but I knew this wasn't even close to over. Karen had no idea what storm she'd just unleashed. Karen thought it would end with a half-hearted apology and that flimsy citation from the cops. Oh no. I wasn't about to let her off the hook that easily. You don't falsely accuse my daughter, scare her half to death, and then walk away like nothing happened. My lawyer, Dan, was already 10 steps ahead. "We're going nuclear on this," he said with a grin that made me realize Karen was about to have the worst few months of her life. The first move? A subpoena. Karen was officially being dragged into court for harassment, defamation of a minor, trespassing, and emotional distress. She tried to act tough at first, but the HOA's golden girl was crumbling fast. Once the news spread, neighbors started looking at her like she was a rabid raccoon. Even her so-called friends avoided her because no one wanted to be associated with the lunatic who accused a 7-year-old of theft over a necklace she lost in her own house. When the trial began, Dan shredded her on the stand like she was yesterday's trash. "Mrs. Karen, you openly accused a child without evidence, called the police, and publicly humiliated this family. Why?" he asked. Her excuse? "I thought they looked suspicious." The judge's eyebrows shot up like rockets. That's when I knew Karen was toast. The verdict came down hard. Karen was fined $150,000. Yes, 150 grand for damages and emotional trauma. Sophia deserved every penny of that therapy fund. Plus, I made sure to install a pool just to rub it in. But the cherry on top, Karen was sentenced to 2 months of community service. The same woman who once complained about riffraff on the sidewalks was now picking up trash in an orange vest. I swear I saw a neighbor taking photos for the HOA newsletter. The HOA tried to distance themselves, but the damage was done. Karen had single-handedly turned the neighborhood into a soap opera, and now she was the villain everyone loved to hate. She stopped making eye contact with me after that. Guess it's hard to look someone in the face when you've handed them both justice and $150,000. The end. Please like and subscribe for more HOA showdowns like this. Do you think Karen got what she deserved? Comment below.